Hi everyone, it's Julie from Sprouts and Stems. I'm sitting on the floor because I just finished filming, got a little bit of a mess. I just finished filming a terrarium video for my Ko-fi page, which is where I offer exclusive content. And actually, it's sitting right there. It's kind of hard to see their philodendron micans cuttings, but yeah, so I just finished filming that. If you're interested in seeing that, my Ko-fi page link is in the description. And today I am going to be repotting, don't judge my apartment guys, it's a mess, that giant monstera, which I said I was going to repot like over 2 months ago, and I never did because I hate repotting. I know some people love it. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments. I hate repotting. I hate it. The thought of repotting is just such a chore. But I'm starting to notice, I cut off the yellow leaves, but I'm starting to notice lots of like consistent yellow leaves, and I know it's not overwatering. So I believe Mr. Monstera is now yelling at me and really telling me that he really needs a new and bigger home. So yeah, let's get into it. Now, don't get me wrong, I really love this plant and I'm proud of how much it's grown since I got it, but it's so hard to even just pick up and move a few feet over to where I'm going to be repotting it because the vines are so long and also super thick, so they get tangled around things and they get super hooked in there. So that's what you're seeing right now, me struggling to get this moved over. Okay, now I think this is going to be a much better view for repotting. So I have my repotting mat and all my supplies on the floor, and I also put that chair that you can kind of see in the back behind the new pot because I'm going to use that chair to kind of rest the vines on and just keep them up and out of the way of things. Now it's time to mix together the potting mix. So for this, I'm using regular houseplant potting mix and perlite, and you'll also see that I'm throwing some peat moss in there. You don't need to use peat moss, you can just use regular houseplant potting mix. And I also don't recommend using peat moss just because it's really not sustainable. I bought this bag like a long time ago and before I realized that it wasn't very sustainable, so at this point I just try to use it up to at least get some use out of it. I'm using a 1-to-1-to-1 ratio of these 3 ingredients, and yeah, if I were just using potting mix and perlite, I would make that 2-to-1. But I mean, you don't have to go crazy with like measurements here, just eyeballing it is fine. And then I don't know if I did this on camera, but I also poured a little bit of water into that bowl because I like to use moist potting mix for repotting. So I definitely want to address the pot size because I will say it does look like a massive pot on camera, and it is definitely big, but in real life it's not as unbelievably big as it looks. Yeah, I don't know what it was, but I went to many different places. I went to garden centers, I went to big box stores, I even just looked around in the grocery store because sometimes they have pots there. I could not find a pot that was the size I needed. I don't know why. I have no idea why. This was the closest thing I could find. Ideally, you should only use a pot that's 1 to 2 sizes up from the current pot. So this is definitely big for this plant, but I went for it because like I said, I really needed a pot, and monsteras are pretty, they're pretty low maintenance. They're not super finicky. And this one was growing so fast, I figured it would be fine in a pot that's a little bit too big. So I wouldn't do this for any of your super sensitive plants though. It's time for the moment of truth. And holy moly, I knew that this plant was starting to get unhappy, but I didn't realize it was that root bound. So it's definitely going to feel so relieved in its new home. Now I'm putting the root ball just right on top of that initial layer of potting mix that I put in the pot. And you didn't see this, but I did kind of massage the root ball a little bit, mainly the bottom, just to kind of loosen up everything that was all bound, but nothing too aggressive. You don't want to be like breaking roots and stuff. And now I'm just going to fill in the sides with potting mix. Ooh, and I almost forgot about this part. I had some monstera cuttings propagating in my greenhouse cabinet just because, why not? They've been there for a few months. I didn't really know what to do with them, so I figured, hey, since there's all this extra space around this monstera in this ginormous pot, why don't I use those cuttings to kind of fill out the sides a little? So that's what I'm doing here, and I'm really happy that I was able to use those cuttings finally. Oh my gosh, I am out of breath. Wow, that was my workout for the day, which is good because I didn't get a chance to work out today. So, wow, yeah, looking at this now, I cannot believe that that is the pot that it was in. I cannot believe that. I don't know the exact size that is, but you can clearly see the difference. I thought this was going to be huge, way too big, but it looks maybe a little big, but for the most part, I think it's going to be perfect, especially since I put some other little cuttings in here to make it a little more full. And yeah, I think we now know why it was so angry at me, because did you see those roots? I mean, they were like begging to get out, begging for more space. I would be grumpy too. And here's a final shot. It's looking a little bit, wonky and awkward. It's got to adjust to its new living situation. I did not water it. Usually, I know some people like to rewater after they pot, but it was already moist from the last time I watered it. And then, as you saw, I potted it up in moist potting mix. So when I do that, I don't water afterwards. But yeah, I'll be checking on it in a few days or so and probably water it then. What do you guys think? Can you imagine, just imagine being in shoes that are like a half a size or half the size of the shoe that you need, and then being in there for months, and then somebody finally gives you your correct shoe size. Like, imagine how good that must feel. That's how I picture the roots. But yeah, so made a huge mess. Already had the vacuum out. I knew that was going to happen. And I'll say bye. So thanks so much for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please like and subscribe. Check out the links in the description. And I'll see you guys soon. Have a great day, everyone.